What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the bottom of the map in the blue color, playing as Ra. His name is SuperAfim. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Gaia. His name is M4rcos. We get to see a Gaia game. Yes, Gaia. Yes. For those of you guys who play team games, and this is just a random aside, nothing to do with this game, but for those of you guys who play team games, if you've got a Gaia player on your team and you get mad at them putting a Gaia forest next to your town center, trust me when I say you shouldn't be mad, you should be grateful. One, you save the drop-off site. And two, if there is a forest fire available on your opponent's team, all you got to do is drop 1, 2, 3, 4 wall segments, setting you back 3, 6, 9, 12 gold. And that tanks the forest fire. And you can actually make your opponent waste forest fire on this position, and it doesn't work. So if you're playing team games, tell your whining opponent to just put wall segments down. And then do this to them. Got to use this thing up there for the brains. So we'll see how it's going to go. I do love the Gaia against the Ra. It's always a fun one because in the late game, Gaia and Ra, they're incredibly similarly matched. In fact, if not, Gaia has got slightly more advantages in the late game than Ra does. So, for example, having channels and having channels affecting your caravans means that your gold income is going to be at the same amount of gold income as the Ra player. Having the Gaia Lush means that you can prevent the Ra player from being able to push forward with buildings, which means you can push them backward with buildings much better. So there's a lot of advantages to be had from playing Gaia in this matchup. If I am not being troll and saying Gaia best god, which obviously she's the best god, but Gaia does actually have a fair few really good matchups against the top tiers. So in terms of, you consider the top tiers to be Uranus, Hades, Odin, Ra, then Gaia has a decent time against Hades. Gaia has a decent time against Ra. I probably wouldn't want to pick Gaia against Odin. And I think that Gaia actually has a decent time against Uranus as well on some maps. So, there. Gaia is not a useless god. Definitely worth learning if you want to be, if you're an Atlantean player. And we're going to see if M4rcos can make this work here against SuperAfim. Now, if you remember back, SuperAfim did actually lose his qualifiers game against the Ra expert, so to speak, in Kavoth in a very, very close series. So SuperAfim has had some experience against top-level Gaia. So we'll see if he's going to have learnt from that experience over the course of the tournament and have some answers or not. As channels coming through for M4rcos to help his citizen move a little bit faster. He's over on these giraffe in the early stages of the game here. As he's got 2 villages on gold, which... No, that doesn't indicate anything. He's got 2 villages on gold. He's going to be advancing here a little bit late through Leto. No surprises, no problems there. And he should be completely fine. As Ptar coming through for SuperAfim, and I imagine he's just going to go for that stock standard, fast, second town center. Against Gaia, like when you're playing against other Ra players, advancing super fast to the classical age isn't that important. Because your Gaia doesn't have that valor, can't put that pressure on super early against the Ra. So you're much advancing a little bit later with the Ra is completely fine. So we'll see how it goes. Is there any attempt at a second town center here? M4rcos, it looks like he is actually going for a second town center. Look at the resources. He's got 3 villages on gold. He has picked up a relic here. The Amplifices will be helping him out quite considerably. He hasn't moved over to this town center just yet. He's going for a forward town center. Okay. Forward town center makes some sense here. I do I do quite like what armory, what upgrades. I do quite like a 430-second town center from Gaia, but I would delay hand axe and pickaxe here in favor of getting the town center up a little bit faster. You can get them later. It's not that important to get them straight away when you're going for a fast second town center. The general rule is if you can get an economic upgrade and it doesn't delay your second town center or delay your villager production from your second town center, you should get that upgrade. That's the general rule. But if you're delaying your town center, it's kind of better to just get the town center up faster, which gets your citizens coming out fast, which ends up being more of a boost than a 10% upgrade. So if you think about an extra villager gathering versus a 10% upgrade for, say, like 3 citizen on it, 3 citizen, 10%, that's like having 3.3 citizen. Sorry, 3.9 citizen. No? Yes, 3.3 citizen on the wood, rather than if you get another citizen out, that's like having 4 citizen on the wood, right? Does that make sense? Thanks. Town center's up now for SuperAfim as the barracks coming up here as well. We'll see if M4rcos watched that count on count versus Shadowfax game where Shadowfax played Gaia and he went for a fast heroic into Behemoth and he absolutely dismantled count on count on this map. There's plenty of herdables here getting himself husbandry, or SuperAfim's getting himself husbandry. We have got husbandry through for M4rcos as well as he's getting himself Shaftmine. It just looks like M4rcos is saying, man, I'm just going to boom. Get all the upgrades and go for a kind of delayed timing attack of some sort. As the priest sitting on this position, retreating back here. Back just about up for SuperAfim. As the town center now down for M4rcos. Will we see a third town center or not for M4rcos is the question. Now, when I was talking about the extra town center being better than upgrades, when it comes to a third town center, you're actually starting to have enough citizen out that getting your upgrades up before the town center ends up being a decision to make where it's like which one's actually better, and you can actually weigh it up to be relatively similar. Just getting all your upgrades first and then getting your town center, or getting your town center first and then getting your upgrades. It's a decision to make because the amount of resources it takes to get this town center versus the boost you get from getting all your upgrades, it ends up being very, very similar, at least in terms of what it feels like. I haven't done the math on it, but it feels like it's fairly similar as we're now starting to see the units streaming across the map here for M4rcos. Personally, I don't particularly like Gaia building Terma. I don't think the Terma are very good for Gaia in the slightest. Just make Mermillo, just make automatons, make Caraballista. Those kind of units are fine. Terma 5.0 speed tend to be a little bit weaker than anything else. And if you want to build units, just advance to the heroic age is my advice, especially when you're playing against Ra, who's not doing a whole lot. There's another barracks coming up for SuperAfim. And the same thing holds true for Kronos, right? This is a reason why everyone thinks Kronos is weak. It's because they play Kronos like Uranos and they go, I just need to build Terma. It's like, my Terma don't do as well. It's like, sure, they don't do as well. They've got 10% less speed. That's a big deal. As we'll see what the plan is here for M4rcos. Is he still getting upgrades? He's not getting upgrades anymore. He's just pumping out units. He's literally just making Terma here. I'm a little bit confused as to what M4rcos is going for at this game. So he's sitting on this gold mine over here, going to be able to put some good pressure here to kill off a villager or two, as the villagers have to get pulled back. Obviously, it seems like M4rcos' plan here has to be going for the heroic age, as the citizens finishing up here, going to move over onto the goats, I'm sure. What upgrades does he actually have? They're good, but you can't increase your food income any more than he currently has. We'll see how it's going to go, but it is a little bit scary here for M4rcos as the farms are starting to come up. The barracks are up here for SuperAfim. In all honesty, against Gaia, I don't particularly like the barracks units, but that's because they don't build Terma. Well, at least the guys I play. Or don't build many Terma. But M4rcos here building a ton of Terma makes these slingers much, much better. We see a third town center now up for SuperAfim. He's just happily taking this boom. There is a world here where M4rcos might be able to get a gold star if all the gold is expired. We'll see how it's going to go. Shifting sands can sometimes be incredibly obnoxious. That's like 720 resources gone down the drain from one god power, which might not sound like a lot, but that's a town center. That's the Terma now moving over onto this bottom side of the map. They're going to be moving through here. SuperAfim not putting this wall down. This is something we see from the really top players all the time on these types of Oasis spawns. Is they'll always put their temple in a position to wall this off to prevent the units from moving around as easy as possible. As M4rcos retreating back. Is he still on one military building? He is. He's going for that third town center. He's got 2 military buildings. She's just going mass Terma at this point, trying to snipe some villagers down, as the villagers are going to be leaving that town center there onto this one here as well, as all the Terma end up falling on that position. So the wall coming through here for SuperAfim as well. As the medium Terma looking to take out a villager or two on this gold. Trying to continue that kind of gold starve-esque type play, but I don't think it's going to be happening here in this game. And with all of those, like I said, with all these slingers out, imagine had M4rcos put more effort into just going heroic age. You could have gone straight into Contarius here through Thea and had a really good game. And SuperAfim just runs over those spider lairs, cleans those up with the kind of weaker slingers. But then again, slingers, they're also relatively expensive. They're costing 80 resources, 84 resources, very close to what a Terma costs at 90 resources. So while SuperAfim killed off 8 Terma with his classical age god power, M4rcos has killed off 4 slingers. So he's almost halfway there to making it completely equal. So in terms of things that are kind of fair and balanced, and like if you go shifting sands on units is unfair, then you also have to say, well, if that's the case, then so too is Spider Lair unfair because it kills off a ton of units and gets a whole bunch of value as well. As the Terma still pushing through, and we do see that Thea is on the way. Town center coming through. Goat's just about finished up here, and this, look at this. I love this from M4rcos. He's got tons of wood in the back. Put those farms down right away. Get on that rain. The delayed rain here from SuperAfim. You should be able to get on it. He's got so much wood. I guess he's just wanting to go straight in to Arcus, and you can't just go mass Arcus though. You have to make destroyers. I guess he wants that as well. So we're seeing the farms coming down. Is there a plow in? Plow is in. Irrigation getting through as well as the farms getting thrown down here for M4rcos. He still has one more goat left over here as well. As the villagers moving up to this top gold mine. So we have a question from Leonard Archer. Leonard Archer. I don't know how to say it. What is the stance on building over eggs in this tournament? The stance is it is completely fair to build over eggs. There is nothing that stops that. There is no red. So basically, as long as you're not building over hunt, it's totally fine. And the reason why it's fine is because Gaia can actually build their own way to protect their eggs by building a building and having Gaia lush. So it's completely fine. As opposed to, can you build over automaton bodies? Is that possible, or does it go red? Someone do a check on me. I'm pretty sure it goes red, so that means it's impossible to kind of hunt delete automaton bodies. Is that right? I'm actually not sure. What's your stance on hunt deleting automatons? I thought you had to use... Are they pronounced automatons? 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 Mate, I don't know. I speak English. I don't speak fantasy languages. So I'm going to... Australian English at that. So I'm going to pronounce it like an Australian would. And you're going to deal with it. So now we see M4rcos setting up in the center of the map. He's got his market set up. He should be starting to think about. He's going through Hecate. I don't like the Hecate. Why don't I like the Hecate? Because look at this. Imagine Implode. on these slingers. They all evaporate. Implode at this point in the game would be gigantic. And I think this is one of the big reasons why Gaia is really strong, is she has access to the implode. But going through Heckgate will obviously give him access to bombing and location, but I imagine SuperAfim's just going to be able to shank that down and be completely fine, as we're seeing those Terma getting sacrificed for the time being. Heavy Slingers is also through, so not only would Implode have killed off all the Slingers, but he's also wasted all those resources on getting Heavy Slingers as well. As units retreating back, we see Contarius coming through. Contarius aren't a bad choice, but I don't think they're a good choice either here. We'll see how it's going to go. As M4rcos, does he have himself all of his upgrades? Yep, basically just missing out on the one upgrade on his gold, as I'm sure that'll come through as well. As he still hasn't started that trade route up. So units are now starting to position over here, sniping down the citizen. The hyena gets involved. As the Mythic Age has popped through here for M4rcos. He's going to be checking out this gold mine over here, getting some significant damage done over there as the villagers moving forward to try and grab this gold mine away. We'll see if M4rcos is going to put some palaces down here. One of the big advantages of playing Gaia is the insane amount of resources you end up getting. So the way to use those, generally speaking, and the Kavoth style, is to put tons of palaces up all over the place. Military buildings coming down everywhere as well. We do see the Scarab has come through here, going to start taking some units out because M4rcos hasn't gone through Rhea. He can't steal that one away. But there is a Lampedic over here that you could utilize to kind of convert that as well. As you see the Terma coming back up to the top position over here as well. As the villagers getting taken down here by those Tartarian spawns really, really fast. Even with the upgrade here, doing tons of damage. The one thing that Gaia can do here that M4rcos didn't is he could have clicked the Tartarian Gate and clicked Gaia Forest on top of it to lower the surface area that those villagers can actually get onto, and he would have been able to basically prevent the villagers from taking this Tartarian Gate down, or at least kill off a ton more villagers. But there's the Mythic Age for SuperAfim. The Son of Osiris coming through to clean up those Tartarian spawns and everything else going well there. As now M4rcos trying to push in onto this position to take down that fortified town center. Trying to take down the fortified town center can be very, very tough. It does. I think it shoots 3 arrows at doing 24 damage a second. That's a lot of damage a second. You don't want to fight underneath that if you can help it. As these villagers still grabbing this gold mine on this position, not putting anything down just yet. M4rcos still hasn't started his trade route here. He's still trying to put military barracks and things down on this position. Snivalian Bird flying over there, trying to put pressure on. As the game is still mightily close here at this point. Those Terma, they're just... Is he still building them? He stopped... It seems like he stopped building... No, he's still building Terma. You have to stop building Terma. I'm telling you, Terma are rubbish. As the Fire Siphon coming through onto this position, going to start trying to push forward. But again, look at the damage that comes through onto those units from the Citadel Center. It's just so strong. As the Son of Osiris coming in, and not only are Terma rubbish units, but the Son of Osiris eats them for breakfast. 88 HP, 60 damage, an attack. Will 2-hit multiple Terma with that chain lightning. You do see SuperAfim searching around looking for some villager kills over here as the trade route looks like it has started for M4rcos, but it looks like he's misclicked his market or something, or the llama caravan's a bit slow. Not slow, a bit distracted. Did they take any damage? No, it looks like he has misclicked the town center here. Oh, you hate to see it. You absolutely hate to see it. As now the catapult is out and SuperAfim has hard defended everything here. He's got the gold mines he wants. He's got the walls set up. He's got the trade route started. And he's ready to start pushing across the map here. As the Arcus coming through, the Son of Osiris gets caught out ever so slightly, getting pushed back by those Arcus nicely. As M4rcos is still going to be very, very careful here. Still fighting underneath that Citadel fire there. But so too is SuperAfim fighting underneath the Palace fire as well. He's taking a bit of damage from that. M4rcos' Palace is going to be getting taken out very, very quickly here in this game. There's a population differential here relatively close, but now Mercenary Cavalry are going to be coming through. Son of Osiris still taking a little bit of damage over here as the Fire Siphon tries to come through to take out the Catapult, but he's just not able to do so. And M4rcos at this point, he's got no resources really remaining. He's now put a palace up on this position to potentially start putting pressure over onto this town center on the bottom, which would be definitely a good idea. Meanwhile, still more raids looking here for SuperAfim, checking out the gold mines, making sure that nothing is going on that position as well. And now M4rcos has to pull back. And it seems to me that M4rcos, he just hasn't managed to start this trade route well enough. And his economy, as compared to what SuperAfim's is at this point, just doesn't seem to be as much. He's got plenty of wood in the bank. I'm not sure why he's got all that wood. He's got a gold mine in his base that he could just take villages off of wood there and get onto that. He's also got the Hesperus tree with those dryads, which are not very useful until after you kill the Son of Osiris. There's a catapult for SuperAfim, still pushing forward here, trying to take out everything in the middle of the map here as best as they can. But with the Spearmen out as well, what do you do against this army? Well, obviously, Destroyer Arcus, very, very good against this army. But you have to deal with that Son of Osiris. Meanwhile, over on this position, the Dryad's cleaning some stuff up. As M4rcos is biding his time here. Upgrades coming through. Bronze shields, though, coming through for SuperAfim. He's buying his upgrades nicely. He's spending his resources nicely in this game. M4rcos takes down a Spearman here. Trying to break through on this position to kill everything off if he can. There's the Arcus trying to take out the Son of Osiris yet again. You can garrison in the Siege Tower. It's a really, really nice way to play. If your opponent isn't paying attention all too well, you just take the Son of Osiris, you garrison in the Siege Tower, the arrows fly through the air, they miss the Son of Osiris, you ungarrison, the Arcus automatically targets something else, and then the Son of Osiris can start attacking again. It's a really, really nice way to play with the Siege Tower. And the same thing can be done for basically any unit that's getting targeted, apart from the Heroic Age units. You can garrison Spearmen into the Siege Tower, you can garrison Slingers, you can garrison Priests, Villagers, Pharaoh, lots of different options. As now SuperAfim has cleaned up the military buildings over here, so we will be able to grab this gold mine as well as the Siege Tower is now moving around to try and take out the fortified town center there as well. As M4rcos here, he's in for a bit of a tough time now as the Migdol Stronghold coming up on this position, still trying to push through here and deal with that Son of Osiris. Did it fall? Wait, where is he gone? Moving up to the top side to empower, I guess. Yeah, we have a question from UIM Loki. Do garrison units perish if the Siege Tower dies? The only thing that dies if in a garrison thing is rock and transport ship, I believe, if the transport ship isn't close to the land. If the transport ship is close to the land, I think it ejects the units from memory. So now the Siege Tower here looks like it might actually not go down. As the Citizen here, like, it's coming in to take this one out, but the Son of Osiris is going to be able to kill that off, and the Siege Tower lives. The town center of M4rcos falls here as SuperAfim manages to push around the side here and deal with this nicely, catching M4rcos very much off ground, out of position. Apparently, if there's no room for the units to eject from the Siege Tower, the units will also die there as well. It's basically impossible to make that happen, though. Now SuperAfim here still trying to break through onto this position. Iron Shield's coming through for SuperAfim. His siege is rolling through. He's going to be able to take down these buildings and then claim this town center for himself. But while this is going on, Siege Tower is trying to take out that bottom town center as the Mercenary Cavalry popping out. The Fire Siphon retreating back. And it looks like SuperAfim here has managed to completely control everything here in this game, as now Champion Chariots is coming through to boot here. And that town center will just about be able to be grabbed for SuperAfim to go up to 4 town centers in this game. But the Mercenary Cavalry having to get trained for the time being here. Only 11 camel caravans thus far out for SuperAfim. He hasn't yet put the priest over onto said market. But that can be moved over there to start empowering that one up and getting himself a little bit more gold if he so needs it. As the Dryad's coming through onto this position. Migdol Stronghold coming up as well for SuperAfim to try and hold on here. There's more villagers popping out here to try and defend. And to easily take down the Fire Siphon and everything else there as well. As the villagers are now going to come in and grab the town center. The Son of Osiris getting caught out a little bit, taking a little bit of damage there by the Fnatic. There's a little bit too much going on here for SuperAfim to defend. His attention getting dragged all around the place, but he is cleaning up every one of those buildings nicely. Still 249 HP left in the Son of Osiris here. As the Spearman coming back in to defend on this position to take out those Fire Siphon and everything else to boot here. As it looks like the Migdol will come up and this position is not going to go down for M4rcos. He's not going to be able to clean up this any point soon. And unfortunately for M4rcos, in the 22nd minute of the game, he could not hold on. He could not find that second victory against SuperAfim. And SuperAfim wins his first round of the playoffs in 4 games. Congratulations to SuperAfim. Solid game here from him. But you have to be a little bit concerned for SuperAfim as this tournament goes on. He's playing very, very passive, playing very, very defensively. If he finds himself up against a player who is going to be a little bit more active and a little bit more strategically minded, he might find himself getting blown off the map and falling here against some players, especially towards the upper end of the group. On the other groups, those first position finishing players, they're going to be able to take this Ra out and eat it up for breakfast. He's going to have to really be thinking about how he can improve this strategy he's got going as this tournament continues to have a chance at having an Egyptian player in the end in the finals. Anyways, we'll see how that goes. If you guys enjoyed this series, well played for SuperAfim. Do consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're on the YouTube's, if you're on the Twitch, hit the follow button. If you're on the YouTube, hit the subscribe button. I don't know what I'm saying. I'll see you guys in the next game. Bye.